everyone, welcome to a new video on the channel, and today there are 3 journals in front of us and you might be wondering why, and that is because I'm going to be discussing my 2023 reading journal lineup and also doing a flip through of the setup pages. So to start off, this top journal here has been very familiar to most people who have followed this channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Shao and I do a lot of bullet journaling and also talking about books that I read on this channel, and I hope that you'll subscribe if you find it interesting. But this book here has gotten me through all of this year of 2022, and as you can see it is really thick now from all the papers and all the decoration, and whilst I've really enjoyed having this whole book here just dedicated to my reading and keeping all the information that I'd like to look back on and track each month and day and year, it has sort of served its purpose but also made me realize that I want more. So the good thing about this book was everything was in it. I could have my trackers and my stats and everything at a glance in one book. Didn't have to reach for anything else, which is handy. But it got to a point where I would fill in a page and I didn't leave anything at the front, and it would end up creating a new page throughout the book, which wasn't that hard to deal with. I did, as you can see, put washi along the side so I knew where it was. And then also it's been really handy for having my monthly setups, and I've enjoyed the process, but it has gotten to a point where I've learned what I like and what I don't like in a reading journal, and that is when it gets to this thick. It's really challenging to work with these pages at the back here because it's just so chunky now, and so I have decided to go with not 1 but 2 books for 2023, and these 2 books are very different from one another, and I've really enjoyed setting both of them up. They both come with their own challenges, and they aren't originally what I wanted for 2023. I originally wanted to get a B5 sized notebook, but I ran out of time and resources to get that in, so I have gone with quite the challenge. My best friend kindly gifted me this 𝓘𝓽𝓮𝓼 notebook right here, and I'll show you why it's a challenge in a moment, but we're actually going to look at this one first. And one of the reasons why I have 2 bullet journals this year for my reading is simply because I wanted to create a long terms collection. So this is just a unbranded Anko brought dotted journal from a department store here in New Zealand called Kmart. You can find it also in Australia. I think it was about $5, but it is, fair warning, very thin paper, and I wouldn't recommend this type of journal for anyone if they are looking to use it for a main bullet journal, but for what I am using it for, it's turned out pretty okay. I have some quips with, well, some qualms, sorry, with some of the setup, but overall it is a stats book and I'm not going to care too much. So as you can see, I've gone with a celestial theme for the entire year, both with the black covered journal with the stars on it and with the paper that I've used throughout this book here. And I have got a quote page here just to fill it in. I always put quote pages at the start of all journals, and this one comes from These Twisted Bonds, and it says, "When you came into my life, you were a bright star in an endlessly dark night." Next page we have is Bookish Birthdays, and this is just where I write down the birthdays of my friends that I've met through the book community. And here is a stats page for 2023. Now I wanted to keep this away from the main bullet journal just because I have the intention of adding stats from 2022 into here. Along the side here I want to write down the numbers so I can compare them as the year goes by. I've also got the space here to do a lot of stat marking down and figure out as I go what I want to track and remember for my time and my memory keeping. and then we've got the DNF books and rereads page. Now in my other journal I have barely anything on both of these pages, so I figured they'll last longer than a year quite easily, so I've just set them up as so. This is the same as it is in my current journal for both pages, well, aside from the fact that I've now put year here, but other than that they are the same. So I've got a place on the DNF books to write down what month I DNF'd it in, the title, and what page or percentage I gave up on, and then here is just a place to put down the title and the year that I reread a book. Now, as you saw in the previous book, I pointed out that my ARCs pages didn't last in the one section, and so I have compiled two-page spreads for them for this year at least. That should be plentiful, and then if there's any extra, that'll be great. And this book has plenty of pages left, so I'll be able to add another ARCs page in for 2024. Now moving on to what I've really enjoyed setting up, and it is my series tracker. Now I am going to point out in my other book that I really didn't enjoy my series tracker. I had asked for information from ideas from everyone who had seen me complaining about it. This is how it looked in 2022, and I suddenly decided that I would mark off series that I've completed with this other color here, and I ended up hating it. I've also got ones where I DNF'd the series, one there with a little grey, and then I crossed this one out, so it's not the neatest, and I was finding it challenging that figuring out where to put the circles and how to go about them. So I have changed things up for 2023, and by doing that I hopefully have solved the issue. I have currently written in all the series I have that are ongoing that I don't plan to finish in 2022. There's a couple that I know that I'll finish before the year is out, so they're not listed here, but I have gone through and added all of the ones that are outstanding, and the goal is that there are 10 boxes available, and hopefully most series will fit. If I know that the series is going to be larger than 10, I can always halve the boxes here and add extra space, but I also have a key down the bottom here for the colouring. So as you can see, this purple means before 2023, and then there's a blue for 2023, and then a hot sort of magenta-y purple colour for if I complete the series. I will colour in the box and it'll be completed, and if I DNF it, it will be grey. So I'm hopeful that this will work for me, and I've also added in enough pages for about 140-ish series, and I mean this is how much I've got going into 2023. I can't see myself needing more than an extra page, so I'm sure this will last me at least a year and a half, maybe 2. And that was sort of the goal, was to set things up for a longer period of time rather than having to transfer them into journal after journal. The other reason why I chose to do this on white paper was because, well, you'll see the challenge in a minute for why I've chosen this journal. Now onto the owned TBR. I have yet to fill this in. I have mentioned in many of my videos that I was not going to put it in to another journal, but I have come up with a little bit of a solution on how to go about that, and it is just simply using a key. Again, I haven't yet quite made it, and how to utilize this box along the side here. There will be again colours of the books that I read before 2023, a colour for 2023. They'll be the same colours. I want to keep that consistent throughout the entire book. And then I will have like little symbols to represent if I've unhauled it, or I've given up on the series, that sort of thing. So I'm really hopeful that this will work, and also I won't be marking down books that I have extra copies of. Simply just one copy will be marked down. That was a big fault of mine in my current journal. And I've added enough pages for this as well that it should be around 500, 600, about 600 I think, books that can fit in here, and currently I don't think I've got more than 200, if that, so we've got plenty of room to grow. not so much in my bookshelves, but definitely with time. And the good thing is that there'll be enough space that when I do unhaul books to make room for new ones, there'll still be space on here to add new ones as well. And I've just got a little quote to separate the stats from the author collections. I decided that I would do them in here as well. And the good thing is that if I want to swap back to stats, it's very easy to do. So I can just do a marker and know that this book is simply all about keeping track of things that I'm doing, so I don't have to stress too much about swapping and changing. Now this one is the most advanced list, and I'm very happy with how it's turned out. Yeah, you'll see that some of the lines won't match up because I originally didn't have it planned out like this, and then I had to come back because I made a mistake on subsequent pages and had to line up every single box. So as you can see, I have a lot coloured in on this specific author's tracker, and hopefully more will start to look like this, but the reality is it doesn't look great. I really was quite ambitious about giving a page to each author, and then I realized that they don't have very many books. It's so easy to think, oh, this will work for everyone, when you have authors like Jennifer who has over 60 books. So these lists look very small, but the good thing is if I don't fill them in by the time I finish this journal, I can always add quotes to the bottom of the pages. So here's some of the authors that I want to track in here. They're all the same pages. I made several mistakes when I was setting this up, but that is how they look. And I can continue on with doing some more authors, which I will. I sort of just got really tired of doing the headers, which I used individual stamping for. So yeah, it wasn't that great, and so I kind of gave up, but I've got all these pages here to do so much more with, so I can go ahead and add more authors in here. I've got space for 2024 easily, and if I don't like using this book, because the paper is quite thin, you can see that it ghosts very easily. I can always change it up. I could even go and cut some of the pages out if I really needed to put it into a new journal, but I probably wouldn't do that. All the same though, I'm really happy that I've decided to use this really affordable journal for my stats keeping. Whilst you will be seeing it on the channel quite often when I do my monthly wrap-ups, I definitely don't need something that's going to be high quality just to write down stats. That's how I felt. The paper is holding up for what I need it to, and I found that this pen here is very good at not going through the page at all. So I'm very excited about this pen set, and I've got it in 2 other colours, so if I get bored of using blue, I can always use pink or purple, and it is the Pilot G2. So yeah, very happy that I've got those pens, and they are very nice to write with, but also are not going to ink through to the next page, which did happen when I used my black gel pen at the start of this book. So now that I've shown you this one and we've gone through all of the stats, let's go have a look at the other journal. But first I want to point out that I forgot to mention, I just stuck these stickers on that my friend gave me. She created these, they're really cute, and she is the founder of Pros Before Bros book club on Instagram. I've really enjoyed being a part of it, and I love these little stickers, they're so cute. So I just did that to jazz it up a little bit because it just said dot journal on it and I wasn't vibing. So like I said, we'll move on to this one here, and I did mention it has a lot of challenges to it, and I'm sure you've probably guessed by now what I meant when I said white paper before, because this one is a blackout journal. My friend didn't know what she was going to do with it, and she said, you know what, are you up for the challenge? And I'm not going to look at a free book and go, no, I'm not. So I have created my 2023 setup in this blackout journal. Now, I haven't used blackout paper before, and it is a challenge. She was definitely not wrong about pointing this out, but it is so effective to look at. The unfortunate part I have is that when I write on the other side, the gel has sort of the colour has sort of transferred a little bit. So I have learned that in the process. It's all a learning curve, new paper, new rules. So it is a little bit frustrating that some of that has transferred on to my quote page here, but still, I'm really happy with how this has turned out. So this is my quote page, as you can tell, and on the side here I've got a really colourful book with all the stuff coming out of it. I read a lot of fantasy. It is my favourite genre. I probably would read more fantasy than anything else, despite the fact that most of my books are romance books that I've consumed this year. I don't know, it seems really funny to see that there's more romance books on my list than fantasy, but the books that I've enjoyed this year have mostly been fantasy books. So that is why I have gone with a fantasy looking scene here, and it does really match up with my first proper reading journal with its fantasy book setup, which, let me see, there we go. We had the dragon coming out, the kingdom and the horse. I really liked setting that up, so I definitely wanted to continue on with that. And again, I also wanted to continue on with a quote from the same world. So in the first book, I shouldn't have put it down. The first book, we have the quote that says, "Every story has the potential for infinite endings." This is one of my favorite quotes from Once Upon a Broken Heart, to a point that I went and put it on my phone case as well. You can tell I very much so enjoy it. And so I've gone with a quote from The Ballad of Never After, which is book 2 in this world, and I'm hoping that with book 3 coming out next year in 2024 I can continue on with a quote from that. But this quote says, "Like all admirers of fairy tales, she'd always loved the scent of books. She loved the paper dust in the air, the way it swirled in the light like little sprinkles of magic." And I thought that was really fitting because of this page here with the book. I just really like that quote as well. Moving on, you will notice that a lot of these pages will be similar to the other book that we've been looking at all year long, and that's because if it's not broke, why fix it? And here we have my Goodreads challenge for 2023, and I have decreased the amount that I'm going to read over the year with the intention of slowing down. I've read over 200 books already, and I probably will reach 210, 215 by the end of the year, and I'm really grateful that I made it that far. But I do notice that I do a lot of reading and a lot of things that I want to do, so in the year of 2023 I'm hoping that I can balance out my hobbies a little bit better, get back into writing, get back into creating other things, and not just spend my time consuming books. So I have decreased by 50 books, and my main goal is 150 books for 2023, but I've got 170 on here just for an added buffer. These little squares look really cool on camera right now to me, but they were an absolute pain to put together. The Blackout paper is the biggest challenge by far, is trying to see the dots, especially when it's nighttime and you've got light shining on it. The dots just disappear, and of course I've done a lot of this setup at night, so I was having a great time trying to see all the little boxes, but I'm so glad with how it looks because it just has come together so well. And the little key over here, I've just used all of my jelly rolls that I got specifically to create this book, and a couple from a very cheap Anko gel pen set. I haven't set it yet, but I will list everything that I used to set up both books in the description below. And on to my bookshelf. So for the year of 2023 I've done the same amount of bookshelf pages, so there was the two page spreads and the 1/2, but I have definitely decreased how many books I can fit on here. I actually haven't counted, and by the time I post this video I will have counted that for you. I'm trying to see which angle I've got this on. It seems not straight. There we go. You'll know how many books we can fit on here. I think originally the goal from last time setting this up was about 240 books, or 244. So I'm thinking it'll be around 230 because I didn't add any decorative elements to the bookshelves like last time. I just did a whole bunch of books off on another white notebook and then stuck them into here, and I think it looks really effective in the light. This doesn't look, in this light it doesn't look as effective, but I've actually used a metallic gold watercolor to do the book cases, and I think they look really cool, and the sort of changes of color look like wood to me, so I've just gone through and done that on those 2 pages. And then we've got a smaller bookcase here, and I've put my star ratings here. Now I really did love the ladder in this one here. I thought it was so fun having my code hidden in behind the ladder. Where is it? Here we go. I used to have it on here, but that was for only 5 colors, and I only did colors for 1 to 5 stars, not 0.5 star ratings, and I've noticed that I do a lot more of those now, so I've allowed up to 9 colors to fit on this bookcase, and I've gone with bright colors simply because the rest of the Blackout paper has to use bright colored gel pens, so I kind of wanted it to match. And I'm using Crayola Supertips for all of these colors here. I've got them all aside in this little container here, ready to go for 2023. And on this side here it's the same thing. We've got the Days Red Pixel, which I put in the last one, but I didn't center it because I thought I might need to put another bookcase in here. And I'm grateful that I didn't have to, because I really like how this turned out with the key down the side here and the color scheme. And again, it's just those gel pens that I'm going to fill in each box. I did change it up a little bit. I ruled out every single box this time around, because with the, where is it in this one? I should really just keep it open beside me. With the boxes not defined, some of the grids have gone over the edge and these boxes aren't even. So by hopefully doing a grid pattern on here with all of the boxes, I can keep them more uniform and be able to tell where the boxes are, so I don't have to draw over the lines. Again, another staple from my last book, and I haven't put anything down here. I'm not sure. Maybe I could add a little decorative element of some constellations or something and add it up here. I haven't yet really thought about this page, but I do have enough spaces here for 23 books, and that will indicate each book that I read this year that was in my top 23. And I don't know if I will rank them in order or not. I've not yet completed my top 22 books of 2022. I know what some of the books are going to be that are going in there, but I haven't yet put them into order or anything like that. So once I've decided how that's going to go, I'll probably do the same in this one, unless I don't like it coming into that month. But there are 23 spaces here, and I did mess up. You can see the black pen that I've used to hide the line here. But other than that, this page is pretty simple. Flipping on to another page, and as you can see, I really, it's so annoying, this Blackout paper with the gel pen, and it is always dry before I change it over, and I have a piece of paper in between, so I'm not quite sure why it's transferred, but we live. We've got 2 lists here. We've got the author's A to Z challenge, and instead of doing just an A to Z challenge, I decided that I would do an author challenge. There was a really good comment on one of my videos on Flipthroughs about doing it this way, and I'm really grateful that that was said to me, because what a great idea. Z is going to be so easy when I use Mariana Zapata for that. So the rules for this will be probably their last name. If I can't work the last name, then I will go with first names, but overall it's going to hopefully be last names. I think that will be a fun challenge. And then over here we've got 23 books in 2023, so I want to make a list of books and read them over the course of the year. Now this has really caught me out in my current journal, I did the 22 books in 2022, and I wrote the list at the start of the year, and now I'm down to books that I didn't want to read. Now, my reading tastes have changed over the course of the year, and books that I was really excited for at the start of the year completely became uninteresting to me at this point, perhaps because I've read other books by the author and I didn't really gel with them, or I've gotten over the hype of the author, just things like that. So I've had to change a couple of books out from what they were but keep the authors, and I don't want to have to do that in 2023. So I'm going to fill in half of this list at the start of the year. I haven't yet decided quite on all those books, so I'm just going to leave it for now and then come back to it in January and think about it then. And when I get to about July, I'll do the second half of the list. That way I know that it's not going to be a list where things feel old to me, and I will enjoy what I put down, hopefully. And then the final 2 pages of this flip through are 2 new challenges that I want to do over the month of, over the year of 2023, and that is a TBR book of the month and Read the Rainbow. So Read the Rainbow is really self-explanatory. You find a book with the colour that represents on this page, so a red book would go in here and so forth. And there is a box here, but because it's black paper, oh there you can see it now. Because it's black paper, black pen does not show up. So I've got colours for the rainbow, so red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and instead of violet and indigo I went purple and pink, and then white and black are the other 2 that I've added on just to complete the page. And then on this side I'm going to do this on camera so you all get to see it when I fill it in and everything, but I'm going to grab what books I have yet to complete this year, and grab 12 books from that list, or perhaps I'll put all of them in, I'm not sure. Ones that I really want to get to in 2023 and probably need a little bit of a shove to complete, because my TBR always seems to change, and so the goal is to finish more physical books in 2023 instead of just hoarding them like they're trophies and never reading them. And so putting them in a jar and then drawing all 12 out and then putting all their book covers in here, and then each month I will have to read whatever book is in the box. And I said just before that I will film that and share it with you all, so that'll be something fun we can do together in the next couple of weeks to set up for 2023. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today looking through my 2023 lineup. I'm very excited for both books and what they'll present. I'm still a little bit nervous about how the black paper is going to work for an entire year. It is quite a challenge, and I am a little frustrated with the gel pens transferring, but I do have quite a few other pens as well that I'm going to utilize, and also lots of paper pads like you've seen in 2022's book. So I'm not too frightened by it. I just think it's going to be a definite learning curve for me. And then of course using the stats book as we go. This will be seen every month when I do my monthly wrap-ups. Let me know if you've enjoyed seeing this, what you would like little deep dives into, if there are any pages or anything that you would like more information on, and I'll be happy to follow that up. Again, thank you for spending time with me today, and I hope that you're all well. Bye everyone.